All right, let's do example 14C. Cos of 202.5 times cos of 157.5 divided by sine of negative 210, all of that minus 225. Okay, so first thing I want to know is where are these people, right? You need to know exactly in which quadrant they exist. So let's go ahead and do that because that's going to help us with our reduction. On my cost, I only got my 180 and 360. So 202 is more than 180 and it's less than 270. So this is quadrant 3. Okay. 157.5 is less than 180, more than 90. So this one is quadrant 2. 225 is less than 270. So that one is quadrant 3. Negative 210. Okay, let's discuss this one real quickly. So if we're going to do negative 210 on your Cartesian, that was a horrible line. On your Cartesian, you are going to start here and go anti-clockwise. This is negative 90. Keep going. This is negative 180. Keep going. This is negative 270. So going in this direction, negative 210 is going to be over here between negative 90 and negative 270 going in the clockwise direction. Okay, this means that we are sitting in the blue section. Okay, great. We're only sitting in 2 quadrants. That's quadrant 2 and quadrant number 3. So in quadrant number, let's start with 2. In quadrant number 2, sine is positive. For the 2 blue ones, we know that this one is going to be positive because it's in quadrant number 2. And we know that cosine is going to be negative because it's in quadrant number 2. Okay, that's brilliant news. Next up, cosine. In quadrant number 3, tan is positive, which means cosine is going to be negative in quadrant 3. And tangent is going to be positive in quadrant number 3. Okay. Right, now I'm done with my cost diagram. Now I can actually use the formula. So what we're going to do is we are going to convert and reduce. Let's start with our numerator. We are going to say cos of 202.5. Now, 202.5, notice that for both of these, they are on the 180 side. One is going to be the yellow is 180 plus and the blue is 180 minus. So I'm going to say 202.5 minus 180 gives us a fraction, or 22.5. Okay, so we're going to say this is 180 degrees plus 22.5 degrees. That is our yellow one for cos. I'm happy with that. We're multiplying that with the blue one, and the blue one is going to be 180 degrees minus 157.5, which gives us 22.5. Oh, I see a pattern forming. This is brilliant. Cos of 180 plus, wait, where are we? Minus, we're minusing. 180 minus 22.5 degrees. Okay, I'm happy with that. We can do the tangent one. Our tangent is going to be 225, so 180 plus. Okay, so 225 minus 180 gives us an amount of 45 degrees. So this is tan of 180 minus 45 degrees. Sorry, plus 45 because we're going to 200 degrees. And let's do our denominator. Okay, so now, how are we going to figure this one out? You need to be able to translate. You need to be able to say, what is the polar opposite of 210 degrees? So in other words, if you went, you know that your circle is 360 degrees in that direction. If you went the same thing, let's say you went 270 degrees in this direction. So let's start here. You went around like that and you ended up there at 210 degrees. What is the same thing if you went this way? That's the question. And basically what you're saying is, what's the difference? What is the difference if you said 360 degrees minus 210 degrees? That gives you 150. I don't think that's it. Because that would be, we want to go this way around. 90, 180 to 70. So we want to go 90, 180 to 10. 90, 210 degrees. So we want to be pretty much over there, and we want to know what's this angle. In my brain, 250 degrees. Yeah, it is 150. This should be, yeah, 150 over here if this end is 210 degrees. Yes. So we're going to keep that as sine of 150 degrees. Perfect. Okay. So now, instead of writing it as 210, we convert this to 150 degrees, positive 150 degrees. 210 plus 150 degrees equals 360 degrees. 150 degrees means in the positive direction, 210 negative direction, but altogether it makes a full circle. So now we are going to convert this 150. And that 150, remember, we're going to keep the sign, and we're going to have, because it's 180 minus, because we're in the blue quadrant, right? So we're going to say, what is 180 minus 150? And that gives us 30 degrees. Are you happy with that? Okay. So now we've got our 4 items split into 180 plus or minus an angle. Now we are going to drop the 180s and just keep the angles. So our next line, we're writing cos of 22.5 times cos of 22.5 over sine of 30 minus tan of 45 degrees. Most important, we need to check our signs. Please don't skip this step. So let's check the sign. Cos of 22 according to what we did over here, this should be negative. So that's minus. Second one must be negative. That's minus. Third one must be positive over there. And at the bottom, positive over there. So that's beautiful. Everything's sorted out. Luckily, we figured that out before we started our question. So minus and plus. So we can drop that. But not only can we drop that, can you see that these two are identical? I don't know if you want me to do it in separate steps, but okay. So we're saying that minus and minus makes plus. But if I have cos 22.5 multiplied by cos 22.5, I actually have cos squared 22.5 divided by sine of 30 minus tan of 45 degrees. I hope that you can see that, right? Tan of 45 degrees. Next step. We can identify 2 different things over here. First thing I can see is special angle, special angle. The second thing that I can see here is this over here is actually familiar. You should be able to identify that. So let's go ahead and deal with our special angles. Sine of 30 should give me a half. So my denominator is a half. Tan of 45 should give me 1. Minus 1, and then we're dealing with our numerator. So now on our numerator we can expand. Hold on one second. Okay, so let's keep the cos squared 22.5 over there, and let's get rid of that half at the bottom. So how do we do that? Remember, when you multiply a fraction by a fraction, you do tip and times. So what you have here is you have cos over 1 multiply or divided by a half, right? And if you do tip and times, you're going to have cos over 1 times 2 over 1, which in the end ends up being 2 cos. Obviously, there's more to write, but I just want you to understand we're doing tip and times. So to get rid of the denominator here, it actually becomes the denominator of the denominator becomes the numerator on the top. And we have 2 cos squared 22.5 degrees minus 1, and that is familiar. So now we know based on our double angles that this is actually equal to 2, no, it's equal to cos 2a. Cos of 2 times 22,5 degrees, and 22,5 double is 45 degrees. So this is cos of 45 degrees, and 45 degrees is a special angle. So that is going to give us, now let's look at how this one looks, because it's now going to be a different notation on the calculator. Cos of 45 degrees, mine gives it to you in surds, but just make sure that your calculator can give it to you in surds. So cos of 45 gives you square root 2 over 2, and Bob's your uncle. Okay, I hope that made sense to you. That is example C.